Hey, how are you? Kumusta po kayo? And thanks for tuning in to another edition of Paul Presents Art. My name is Paul and I'll be your guide today. Today I brought you over to Catriona Jeffries Gallery here in Vancouver, which is of course built on the ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. We're going to go inside and have a look at a two-person exhibition by Jessica Stockholder, sculptor, and paintings by Eli Bornowsky. So I hope you can join me for the tour. Let's go inside and have a look. We've entered the gallery and I'm doing an initial pan of the exhibition. It's a two-person show of paintings by Eli Bornowsky and sculptures by Jessica Stockholder. This is the second of a two-part video on this exhibition and is dedicated to Bornowsky's paintings. The other video, on Stockholder, was released earlier and is available on this channel. Let me begin with a short bio on the artist. Eli Bornowsky's abstract paintings combine mathematics and computer programs to create visual optics. Grounded within a luminous, painterly abstraction, his work produces complex surfaces that vibrate with unsettled energy. From a field of colored tiles meditatively rendered in egg tempera, his compositions add a tactile and historic dimension. This painting is titled Tambo, Grayscale, 2025, Egg Tempera, Gesso on Wood, Aluminum, 47 by 47 inches. If you're new to the channel, please know that this channel is about art, exhibitions in contemporary, historical, and outsider art, group shows, art collections, etc. I live in Vancouver, Canada, so most of my videos will be based in that region, but I'll cover exhibitions as I travel. At first glance, these paintings exude a mechanical quality that seems possible only with some form of automation, similar to AutoCAD, architectural rendering software. The lines were applied with precision, but the colors are softer, warmer, of the hand, and applied as near to perfection as humanly possible. The apparent hardness of the lines are softened by the bold but pastel-type colors used, but after reading a few texts on Bornowsky's work, concepts and ideas started to formulate. The next work is titled, "And What New Comedy Will Emerge from the Mannerisms of Bodily Posture?" Once one understands how far all the mannerisms are different, heterogeneous, above all, how no common measure can be applied to them. Aprocta. 2025, Egg Tempera, Gesso on Wood, Aluminum, 47 by 47 inches. The titles for the paintings appear referential, procedural, as if to reveal the secrets in the influences and ultimate creation of the work. In a way, it debunks the myth of the artist's genius, as it relies on procedures and didactics from other disciplines, and diffuses the artist's ego to an infinitesimal level. This sentiment was echoed in some measure, together with additional thoughts, through writer Spencer Everett's essay in The Brooklyn Rail, and I quote, "As bold as these paintings can feel, they correspondingly suggest the death of the painter's ego. There's strong historical precedent here. Egg tempera has long been associated with religious devotional painting, and remains most used today in Greek and Russian Orthodox iconography. Where a painter and a viewer once sought to lose themselves in reverence toward what was represented, here we have no Christ or saint, no figure to revere. And still these paintings feel like devotion, a devotion to paint itself, but also toward something unseen." End quote. Now we're looking at Personal Communication, April 1991. Hyder discusses his trip to Russia, which he undertook with multi-instrumentalist Tim Hodgkinson. In his article, In Search of the Spirit Jazz Forum, Volume 127, Number 6, 1990, pages 30 to 33. 2025, Egg Tempera, Gesso on Wood, Aluminum, 47 by 47 inches. Continuing with the previous entry regarding devotion, the act of surrendering oneself to the machinations of mathematics and the computational sciences is akin to a devotional act. Mathematics and related disciplines have qualities approaching the omnipotent and the omnipresent, entities that govern the universe. Our concept of God is equally viewed as an omnipotent and omnipresent entity, that looms over the universe, the celestial as well as the spiritual. In Bornowsky's painting, the procedural amounts to mathematics and the computational, or the universal and the celestial. But the artist and the surrender of his ego represents the spiritual, ergo godlike, in its representation within Bornowsky's practice. Now we have anisometropic, structural adjustment programs administered by the IMF have 2025, egg tempera, gesso on wood, aluminum, 32 by 32 inches. The term anisometropic describes an eye condition where one eye has a different prescriptive value to the other, due to a difference in refractive power, or asymmetric refraction. The dominance of ocular shapes in this painting seem to graphically reference prescriptive eyewear meant to correct this condition. And if we were to take this metaphor further, there certainly appears to be a discrepancy between the superficial ocular beauty of the paintings and the conceptual mathematical methodology involved in the creation of the works. In other words, the eye sees physical beauty where the brain contemplates conceptual logic. Over to the next work, a reproduction of all existing conditions, with its appended judgments indicating the right course of action, tangles. 2025, egg tempera, gesso on wood, aluminum, 47 by 47 inches. Egg tempera has a long history in art. Before the discovery of oil paint, in the 15th century, egg tempera was primarily used during ancient Greek and Roman times, as early as 3400 BCE. Additionally, as a repeating pattern of shapes covering a surface, tessellations refer to mosaic tile constructions around the same period of the ancient Roman Empire. So the time-honored medium and structures used in Bornowsky's work references ancient methodologies brought into the contemporary artistic consciousness through computational algorithmic science and geometric abstraction. Now we have the quantum of happiness enjoyed by a country's inhabitants and the means of its future improvement. 2025, egg tempera, gesso on wood, aluminum, 45 by 45 inches. The repetitive shapes in a tessellation gives way for mindless labor. That's not a bad thing, as the conceptual framework for these paintings existed well before any tool or paint was laid to canvas. Within the framework of a conceptual painting practice, the genesis for a painting, or a series thereof, often begins with a fundamental, overarching idea that manifests throughout the span of the series. I'll continue that train of thought in a bit, as I introduce the last work in the show, titled Minorcas. Contradiction between the inside and the outside may manifest itself in an unattached lining, which produces an additional space between the lining and the exterior wall. 2025, egg tempera, gesso on wood, aluminum, 47 by 47 inches. Continuing on with conceptual painting, Onkawara's date paintings are a case in point, where the concept is unyielding and the work simply gets done. Labor becomes an exercise in a meditation through durational labor. The act of making the painting is automated, like a manual computer algorithm that provides respite for the mind. And why did I mention that? I noticed that a majority of the titles for the paintings seem to reference procedures, directives, or clues to their making, which, in my opinion, point toward the fundamental concepts employed within conceptual painting and demystifying the creative process. These directives offer a guideline to start working on whatever problem needs resolving. And let's face it, art is about proposing solutions to problems, whether imaginary or real. Bornowsky's works, in a metaphorical sense, is like a Gordian knot of ancient Greek legend that purports to be an unsolvable puzzle that begs to be unraveled. But in the end, the puzzle itself may not need unraveling, but we try, regardless, because such is the stubbornness of humankind. And I believe that's a good place to leave things. I hope you enjoyed this tour of Eli Bornowsky's paintings. Part of a two-person show is a Not Helpful here at Catriona Jeffries Gallery. If you'd like to share your thoughts, observations, questions, please do so in the comment section below. That would be great. Click the like button and be sure to subscribe to the channel. It's free And as a non-monetized channel, subscribing achieves visibility and creates added awareness of the artist and the gallery. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Thank you for joining me today. Have a great day, and I hope art continues to inform your life. Tune in again next time for more art-related videos. Goodbye!